Yeah, the other week I went to see Beetlejuice, the sequel to Beetlejuice, which came out in 1988. And the reason I went to see it is that I actually went to see the original Beetlejuice in theatres back in the day when I was about 12, and it was the first film I remember going to on my own. So even my brothers went with me. It was in Nelson at the old Majestic Picture Theatre, and sadly that has since burnt down back in the 90s. And there was a video game parlour called Space World, which I grew up going to all the time. So anyway, the sequel is set in contemporary times, i.e. around 2023, 2024. Winona Ryder's character Lydia is back, and her father has died, and off screen, as the actor, as far as I remember, had passed away a couple of years ago. Anyway, she's got a daughter, and she's at kind of like at college or senior high school, and she's kind of hipster a little bit. And Lydia is a TV type psychic on the internet or some kind of podcast, and she's kind of making it up or kind of winging it and making a living like that. And she has kind of a controlling boyfriend. We'll put spoilers in this video, so who I didn't trust him, and you see why later on. In terms of plot, it kind of starts off that she sees Beetlejuice popping up in visions, disturbing her rhythm on her TV show. So like he's stalking her and all that, putting off her rhythm. So she takes more meds and stuff, and she's all anxious about having to go back to the hometown. Anyway, so Beetlejuice himself has a flashback back to the plague of the 1300s, and he is like some kind of ghost or demon from those times, and he had a wife played by Monica, is it Bertolocchi, or her name was the one that was, I think, was in Base Moi a few years back, and she's quite sexy, very dark and seductive looking, and it's kind of ghostly like. Staples her body back together because there's a mishap with the storage of her dismembered body. But anyway, it goes back to the present. Willem Dafoe's in it. He's quite interesting, plays kind of like a private eye type cop detective ghost, and it has the same waiting room kind of set up as well in between the worlds. So so they go back, and a lot of mayhem ensues in that. It was fun. It was a sequel that did kind of justify being made, as opposed to, say, the Ghostbusters sequels, which kind of were kind of fan service or didn't really kind of have anything going for them on a deep level. Whereas at least this was directed by Tim Burton, so who did the original, so it kind of felt like it flowed, and it was kind of kooky like a lot of his stuff, so it had his kind of trademark. It had a kind of a anti-woke, non-politically correct kind of angle to it, kind of taking the piss of it on a subtle level, not as overt as, say, Mars Attacks did back in the 90s, but it was still pretty quite comedic and quite tight. Michael Keaton was brilliant in it, like he was in the first film. The fact that he wears a lot of makeup, he hasn't aged a day basically, so it's all the makeup, so he doesn't look like he's, obviously his current age compared to what he was back in the late 80s. So he's kind of fun. He's only on screen for about 18 or so minutes, just like in the first film, but you wouldn't know it based on the editing and the fact that his character overshadows the whole thing. There's a kind of a love interest for the daughter. She meets this ghost boy. You don't know he's a ghost until later, and he tricks her into selling her soul or swapping his soul with him so he can come back to life or into our world, and all mayhem ensues. A lot of weird stuff. The shrunken head guy is in it as well, so I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. So it was kind of a fun watch. Not a film I'll rush out to watch again, but if I was at a party or a friend's place and they wanted to watch the original Beetlejuice and that again, I'd go along with it. So that's why. I rate it higher than Ghostbusters Frozen Empire as a sequel. Just had just a little bit more depth to it, and that comes from Tim Burton's creation and direction and kookiness. Had a lot of Tim Burton touches to it. Lydia's daughter, and it kind of reminded me a little bit like Helena Bonham Carter, a little bit kind of sass, and it clicked for me. As of course he was married to her for a while, so it's got a lot of edge, a lot of cutting edge to it, a lot of clay motion, stop motion type special effects like on the original. One bummer is that if you haven't seen the first film, there'd be things that you might not get, and I was with a person who hadn't seen the original, but he wants to see the original, but he got it. He got the vibe of the type of film it is and was quite impressed. So the sandworm, if you haven't seen the original, it doesn't kind of make sense that when you go out, you see that sandworm kind of stopping the ghosts from leaving that haunted realm and stuff. So check it out. Solid 7.5 out of 10, and if he did make another one, I'd go see it. So I only went in there for nostalgia reasons as a late Gen X guy, and I was impressed. So it was good, well worth it.